Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at NetCom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's event, Understanding the Fundamentals of Architecting on AWS. Presenting today's topic is Brian Wu. Brian has over 22 years of consulting experience in the information technology industry. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the time over to Brian to present today's topic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. All right, let's get started. S3, simple storage service. All right, so S3 is actually an object level storage. In AWS, there are many storage service. You may heard about EBS and then EFS. Okay, let me compare this two, this three together with S3. All right, EBS is block storage. You may consider this is just disk drive. All right, for your EC2 instance, your virtual machine, Windows, Linux. Windows, you have the C drive, D drive, E drive. Linux, you have the man volume. All right, so it's just your hard disk. All right, it's the dedicated storage. And then EFS is a share folder. All right, using the NFS protocol. All right, share to multiple instance, multiple machine. And S3 is what we call object storage. Okay, so the first thing we do in S3, S3 is regional bind. All right, it's not global bind, it's not really ASAP bind, it's regional bind. And then the first thing we do is creating a bucket, and the bucket name must be globally unique because every object located in S3, we have the URL to access if you allow others to access. All right, that's why the name must be unique. All right, and then you can actually store anything, any file in AWS. Okay, to interact with S3, we actually use HTTP put get post command request. All right, so we cannot directly edit those files in S3. What you can do is you can upload the file. Okay, you can download the file. Okay, suppose you want to modify something, so you modify yourself first, and then after that you upload to S3 again. Okay, so this is how we interact with S3. And then S3 is very durable. Why? Because this is fully managed, and then also yeah, serverless. Actually, under the cover, what will happen when you upload something to S3? Okay, so when you upload something to S3, use command I, use console, use the API call. Yeah, suppose you upload a file, a photo, okay, a document, whatever. All right. When you upload the file, let's say the file, okay, AWS will automatically replicate your data across availability zone, and you should have at least 3 copies. Okay, so think about in a region, okay, yeah, many kilometers away, you have another copy. Another area, you have another copy. So even if, yeah, one availability soon goes down because of natural disaster, all right, you still have your data. Even if another goes down, you still have your data. All right, that's why they say the durability of your file is 11.9. All right, so in other words, you have 0.00001% of chance that you will lose the data. It means all the ASIC goes down. Okay, all of your copy goes down. The chance is very low. All right, but if you want even high availability, you can replicate your data to another region. Okay, one copy in Virginia, another copy in Sydney. Okay, another part of the world. All right, so yeah, you really will not lose 2 data. Yeah, in the world, in 2 parts of the world. Otherwise, the Earth have big problem, right? So you know, but by doing that, if you replicate the data to another ASET, you have multiple storage, and then the data transfer. Okay, so the cost will definitely be higher. And then you know, S3 is event source, or yeah, very good for us to trigger the event. Let's say somebody upload the order. Of course, your client, your user, use the application, web page, or mobile app interact with your system. After they buy something, all right, online, and then suppose we receive the order. Maybe we use the Lambda function. This is the icon of Lambda function, all right. So detect the bucket. Oh, if somebody upload the order, and then I process the order, all right. The numbers, how much they buy, quantity, price, discount, whatever, and then we calculate at the end. We charge them, charge their credit card, all right. And then the customer information you may grab and save to database, and then the email address. Oh, we send the notification using those email address. So this is what we call event driven. Everything happen automatically. So think about you book a hotel, you order a car, order your food, whatever you buy the air ticket. So it happen automatically. All right. So this is event trigger. So in S3, how can we solve? How can we? But S3 is not really for end user. Okay, for end user, if they want to use S3, they need to create AWS account. They need to use the HTTP put get post command. End user do not know that. All right. So a lot of application really use AWS S3. You may heard about Dropbox, iCloud, Netflix. The name I mentioned you can find in AWS case study. All right. Actually use S3 to store the data. And here in our webinar, when you download the outline, the notes, actually you take a look on the link. It's actually from Amazon S3. Okay, you can try. Okay, so the go-to webinar also use S3. Actually, a lot of application under the cover. They build a very friendly, fancy platform. So the user use the front end, and actually they leverage use the S3 service. So for S3, what do we need to do first? We need to create a bucket. Okay, and the bucket name must be globally unique. And then you can then upload your file. Could be video, audio, whatever file, document. All right. So I will show you a demo a little bit later. All right. So by default, S3 only the owner would be able to access. Okay, all other people cannot touch. Of course, you can make your bucket proper, but you need to accept a lot of warning in order to do that. And of course, in S3, we can set policy, all right, to allow only certain user, certain IP address, certain time for you to access. It's very granular, all right. So by using the policy, this is just an example, and then later on I show you a demo. And then this example, just deny somebody to access the bucket if they are not the company IP. Think about, I may want to allow only my company's IP range in order to access the object. All right, any other people cannot touch. All right, so let me show you a demo in S3. So suppose I go to S3. S3 is definitely region bind, but the region is not choose from right top corner. All right, because the URL is globally accessible. Even if I store the data in Virginia, even in London, in Frankfurt, in Sydney, they can also access the data if you allow the permission. All right. So first of all, I create a bucket. The name must be unique. If you use this test, all right, it means likely other people use this name. And let me select Virginia as the example. And by default, block all public access. Okay, nobody in the world can touch the object if they don't have permission. All right. So I can create a bucket, but here they say somebody already used the name test. Okay, so I use another name. Let me just use my move bucket. Let's say 2. Oh, already I use this name. So I use number 3. Okay. Let's say number 9. All right. So this is regional buying. I select Virginia as the region, and then let me just keep everything default. And then after that, I can upload. Go to the bucket 9, upload. Of course, you can use the console. However, you can use command line or programming interface to interact with AWS. So let me just upload. Where is my photo? Okay, here. So this is my photo. All right. All right. So let me just upload this photo to AWS, and we have different class. All right. If you take a look on AWS S3 pricing, and then you can check the pricing of the class. They could be very different. All right. So let me go back to, let's say, Virginia. For every gig, every month you pay, you know, 0.023 cents per gig per month. All right. So if you move to other tier, let's say in frequent access, then could be cheaper. Could be cheaper. All right. And then there are some other pricing level. However, there are some consideration for S3 standard. They don't have minimum duration and size. All right. So you can just store for 1 hour, delete it. They just proportionally charge you 1 hour. However, if you store in IA 1 hour and delete, they will charge you 30 days. And then they have minimum storage as well, more minimum size as well. I really see a lot of company, they don't know, they just have a lot of 1 KB file upload to in frequent access, and every object they charge you 128 KB. All right, so you're overpaying for more than 100 times. All right, so you need to understand your data, okay, in order to select your data, your pattern, to select the object class. Or let me just put it into S3 standard and then upload. All right, so it takes some time for me to upload. Yeah, after that we finish, and if I go to this object, you can see the URL. That's why the bucket name must be unique. So if I just copy this link to a browser, and then you will see access denied, because access use the browser. It's just like public access. All right, we don't have any privilege. Okay, by default, it brought all the public access. All right. However, if I click this button, open, okay, it can recognize, oh, this is me, and I have permission. All right, so I can take a look on those picture. All right. What if I really want to share this document? All right, you need to do a lot of things. Let me show you this time. Go to the bucket first, permission, and by default they broke all public access. Okay, this is the ultimate button. Okay, so I need to remove this, and they have some warning. Do you really want to share to the world? Yes, I confirm. Not yet. I need to go to enable the access control list, because yeah, we can only set the public access here. All right. So another warning. Not yet. We still need to go to the photo. All right, because this file, they don't have public access yet. Okay, so after that, another warning. All right, another ASAP. Okay, so after that, this URL. Suppose I copy, and then you can access. All right, so if somebody really use S3 and disclose the data to the world, confidential data, right? It must be somebody do many things wrong. All right, so because by default they will just block all the public access. Okay, so here I just show you the policy, how to interact with S3. Okay, so let's take a look on some more features. All right, so here, yeah, as you can see, this is related to static website. Okay, S3, you can host the static data. Many years before, maybe you have the web application. You just put everything inside and then send to your customer. All right. Maybe it contain video, it contain picture, it contain a lot of files. And nowadays you can consider maybe for the big file, we just store in S3. Okay. You still have your web page dynamic data in your web, but you offload those big, large static data in S3. It is possible for us to do that. Or if your website is just very static, you can use S3 to host the website as well. Okay, I will show you later in the later part. Okay, so S3 can store your static object and can also host a static website. All right, so this is another use case. And S3 we have the features. S3 we have really a lot of features, but here we are talking about versioning. All right, as I mentioned, we have multiple availability zone, right? So if you upload some data, all right, AWS will automatically replicate the data to another availability zone. Okay, even if one ASIC goes down, you still have your data. But the point is, if somebody accidentally delete the file, so this is the delete instruction, delete API call, or suppose they really delete, or all the data will be deleted if this guy have permission to delete. All right. So versioning help us to avoid the delete. All right. And then also the override. What if the file is called file1.jpg and I have exactly the same name, override the original? So maybe you really don't want to lose your data. All right. So you can enable versioning. Let me show you in this demo. So now I want you to take a look on this area. My mouse here. As you can see, yeah, we don't have any button, yeah, here. So what I'm going to talk about is these features, versioning. All right, by default it's disabled. What you can do is you can enable versioning, and then after that, go back to here, and you see there is a new button, show version. All right, what if I really make a delete instruction? Okay, so this is a delete API call, and if you don't have versioning, yeah, your data gone. All right, even if they got multiple copy, all gone. However, if you enable versioning, okay, after you show version, oh, actually, this is just mark delete. They don't really delete your data. They just mark it. Oh, this file is deleted, but still there. Okay, just a marker. So if you delete the delete marker, all right, let me show you. And then, yeah, you can get back your data. All right, so I can open. Okay, it's the same. Okay, so this is versioning. All right, another features on S3. Okay, to avoid losing your data or override your data. Okay, so let me talk a little bit, and then we will take a short break. And then here is yeah, another permission across origin resources sharing. Normally, this is not for human. Okay, you can set the policy, allow propagate, allow yeah, another people to access your S3, but this is for other domain, other website. Okay, you may allow the domain abc.com, example.com, xyz.com to interact with my object. Okay, do we allow get, put, post, delete? So this is cross domain reference. All right, so we can allow them or block them to do so. Okay, you can use allow or deny your choice. All right, but for other domain, do we allow other domain to interact? So another example. So this is just example of using S3 is it actually backdata. Okay, so many companies store, let's say, financial data. 2 years before I have a very big project, they have really larger amount, terabyte or even petabyte data to analyze. Okay, and they store those data in S3. Okay, think about the stock. Okay, in the stock market. Okay, every minute, every second, they keep the stock price really huge after a few years. All right, or some company, the mobile application, game company, clickstream, and media. Okay, and I can tell you, if you go to AWS case study and search Netflix, okay, a lot of the movie actually store in S3. You can find this case study as well. All right. So one last thing before we take a short break. So is the use case normally because S3 is very durable, then you can actually back up your data from on-prem to AWS. Okay, of course, you can use internet to upload, or you can use offline method, okay, to do it. All right. Personally myself, after I work with AWS technology, I just back up my data, okay, around 300 gig to AWS every month. Okay, just a single command to do that. It takes around 1.5 hours to upload all the data. If you got more data, then you may choose other method. But in AWS we have 3 copy across availability zone, so it is very safe. All right. Traditionally, I just back up to some NAS device, and the NAS device, even if I have multiple hard disks, they may fail. All right. Because of fire, because of whatever failure. All right. So upload to AWS. Yeah, I feel much safer. All right. So this is just some other example to work with S3. All right. So in order to interact with S3, actually, we have multiple methods. I should say, in order to interact with AWS, okay, every instruction is API call. No matter you create a bucket, yeah, create a machine, delete something in S3, shut down the machine. So these are all API call. We actually can use the REST API, but this is very low level. All right, if you're not a programmer, yeah, you may hardly do this. And even if you're a very good programmer, you may waste a lot of time for making those API call, because you need to specify the HTTP request, response, signature, and then the AKSK. That's why AWS creates some tools to help you to make those API call. All right. For your application, you can use the high level SDK, or use command line, use console. Okay. My demo, yeah, luckily I use the console, very easy to understand. Okay, so to upload your data, before I just create a bucket and then upload using the console. So this is one way to do so, but maybe not the best way to do so. It's very easy, but not very powerful. As I mentioned, in AWS S3, you can upload any amount of data. There is only one limit. A single file can be up to 5 TB. All right. However, by using console, a single file could only be 160 uh, GB. All right. Gigabyte. Okay, gigabyte. All right. So in order to upload a larger file, we definitely need to use command line or SDK to do so, and a lot more features. Say for example, multi-part upload. All right. Think about it. If you got 100 GB file upload to S3, yeah, by using console, in the middle, suddenly your internet, your network interrupt, all right, and you may need to do everything again. Okay, start over again. But by using command line automatically, you don't need to do anything. You just type the command, all right, by using let me show you a little bit on the command. So if I go to my, yeah, this is my Mac computer. I already installed the AWS CLI, the command line, and I can use the command. Of course, we need permission, but yeah, we are not going to talk about the underlying permission settings. I just want to show you we can use command line to interact with S3. If you know the command and you have the permission, you can, yeah, create a bucket, you can delete, you can do whatever. Yeah, if you got permission. All right. So this is using command line to interact. So one very good command is S3 sync, and then blah 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 blah. Or by using sync command, they will automatically do the multiple upload. All right, it means, yeah, it will break a large file into small chunks, small part, and then upload to S3. So it could be much faster. All right, and then, yeah, parallel to S3. All right, so this is another features. By using SDK, you can even control how you want to cut your file. All right, let's say some example. If you're using 3G network, maybe, yeah, every part just 10 meg, 20 meg. If you're using 4G, 5G network, maybe every pack 500 meg, 2 gig, your choice, you can control by using the SDK as well. All right. So another features is called transfer acceleration. So if your customer is far away from your region, let's say here is US, and then maybe this one is from Japan. All right. It really takes long time for the user to upload their file through the internet. All right. So what we can do is, if you have your user around the globe, you can leverage these features, S3 transfer acceleration. Let me show you where. All right. So go back to your S3 and then go to the properties and then go down there. All right. You can see transfer acceleration. All right. By default, it's disabled. And if you enable it, and you will got a new URL for your user, all right, to upload the file. And this new URL actually use the AWS edge location. All right. Say for example, if the user is near, let's say Philippines, all right, Philippine Marina is actually a edge location, and then they upload to the closest edge location. There are so many around the world. All right, even in the middle of US, Europe, South America, anywhere. All right, 400 more than. So after they travel a little bit through the internet and then go through AWS backbone, all right, it's much faster. However, there will be additional costs on that. Okay, so cost and performance consideration. And then next, suppose you really have a lot of data. Let's say before we have a project around 70 terabyte data, the customer want to upload one time to AWS. Okay, so we calculate by using internet. It takes 2.5 months to upload everything. All right, so it is better for us to use a hardware device, okay, called Snowball. All right, a single Snowball could be up to 100 terabyte, but we say Snowball is a petabyte scalable uh, data transport, because you can order multiple Snowball. All right, so the real project we work with before, it takes, you order from AWS, let's say console. All right, and then they deliver the Snowball to your on-prem data center, and you can use the wireless, but better you plug the cable into this Snowball. All right, and then start transfer. Maybe it takes 1 or 2 days, 3 days, your choice. Normally they have some limited days for you. If you upload, spend more than that, you need to pay extra. All right, but for that project, from you upload the data, from you order the Snowball, and then at the end you see those data in S3, it takes a little bit more than 2 weeks. It's much faster. But Snowball, we have cost. You can check the Snowball pricing as well. And then Snowmobile is actually exabyte compatible. It's a truck, all right. But not every region you can use this service. Really depends. You can plug the cable from your data center to this truck, all right. And you cannot see any logo because of security reason, all right. It's just one-time move exabyte data from your on-prem to actually AWS. At the end, you can see your data in S3. All right. So this is offline way to do so. And nowadays we have a smaller device called Snowcone. Okay, you can actually search from AWS Snowcone, around 8 terabyte. All right. If you got more, then you may order Snowball, your choice. Okay, but this is offline, not using any link. Okay, so how should we pay? So here is when should we use S3? Write run and read many. All right, we don't edit the file many times. We just upload and then keep download the data. It supports spiky access, growing data set. We got some customer, they have exabyte data in S3. All right, a large number of users consume the data. And what is not a good use case of using S3? Block storage. We are not, S3 is not a disk drive. Okay, and frequent changing data do not use S3. Okay, and long-term archive. Um, before we say use another service called Glacier, but nowadays Glacier is already a tier in S3. So even if you are using long-term archive, we can use the S3 Glacier. All right, so it's much cheaper. If you take a look on the pricing, let me show you once again. The pricing, Glacier, we also have multiple level. The deepest level, after you do the calculation, one single US dollar, you can store 1 terabyte of data for a month. Okay, you cannot even buy a hard disk with this price. Okay, so let's keep going. And this is S3. When should we use S3? And next, about the cost, actually is not just S3. Let me say something in general related to cost. There are three big driver of your cost. Okay, one of them is definitely storage. All right, even if you create a virtual machine, let's say EC2, okay, the EBS volume, the hard disk is the storage. Okay, and then data transfer. Normally, data transfer out, we need to pay for that. Okay, let's say uh, data transfer in is free. All right, so suppose your on-prem upload data to S3 by using the same command I mentioned. All right, so it's free of charge, the data transfer going in, but data transfer out, we need to pay for that. Okay, download the data from AWS to on-prem, restore. All right, and between region as well. All right, let's say you replicate your data from Virginia to London. In Virginia, the data is out, so you need to pay for that. And then in London, the data is coming in, so you don't need to pay for that. Okay, so you just need to pay for data transfer out. And out to internet is much, much more expensive than between region. Okay, a few times more expensive. Check the pricing. And the last one is actually the service fee. I will call it service fee. All right. For service fee, EC2 is the uptime. Okay, if you shut down the machine, you don't need to pay the EC2 price, but you still need to pay the storage. And S3 actually, the storage you need to pay depends on the tier. All right. Some of them a little bit more expensive, some of them, much cheaper. And data transfer out, you need to pay for that. And then the service fee actually is the request in S3. The put get post, you need to pay for that, but it's really, really cheap. I can show you in the official page request for Virginia. All right. If you just download the object, okay, 1,000 different object, okay, and then you pay for, I don't know how to say it, 0.0004. All right, you can do some math calculation. Just a million download, this operation charge you 40 cents. Okay, so you can do the calculation. So you need to pay for the request. So come back to our example. Is I mean, not just S3, other services as well. You need to pay for the storage, data transfer out, and then put get post delete. And then you don't need to pay for data transfer in. However, if you transfer out to EC2 in the same region or to CloudFront, it's also free of charge. All right, so take a look on the pricing. These are the three major drive of your cost. All right, so next, let's talk about S3 Glacier. Okay, Glacier nowadays is a tier in S3. Originally, this is another service, and a lot of customer ask AWS, it just look like another tier. How about you move to the S3 service? Then AWS listen. Okay, and now it is a tier in S3, and this is very good for long-term archive. Take a look on the pricing. Could be very, very different. All right. If you store the data here in standard 0.023, and then if you go to the deepest Glacier, it's 20 times more expensive. I mean, comparing standard to the deep archive. So think about $10,000, it becomes 500. Right? So it's much cheaper if you just want to keep the data for long-term archive. All right, so definitely think about how can we save your AWS calls or deployment. Think about Glacier. Okay, it's very cheap, very good for backup, very, very low cost, $1 for 1 terabyte for a month. Okay, so in Glacier, what do we need to do is we need to create vote. Okay, and then optionally you can create a log. Normally it's just for compliance issue. All right, let's say some country they have requirement the data must be kept for 7 year, 5 year. Then you set the retention policy here. All right, and then after you enable this lock of the vault is locked, you have actually 1 hour, 1 day from initiate to actually lock this policy. After that, it's immutable. Even if you are the owner, you cannot change. Even if you ask AWS for help, they cannot change because to meet those compliance requirement. All right. Yeah, this is Glacier. Okay, how we interact with Glacier. But one thing related to Glacier is that we don't have immediate access. All right. For S3 standard, you can download the data. For S3 infrequent access, you can download the data immediately. But for Glacier, normally you need to wait 3 to 5 hours. All right. Traditionally, yeah, 5, 6 years before, you have no choice. You must wait 3 to 5 hours until you see the file in the S3 bucket. Okay, but now you can pay for retrieval time. Okay, if you don't mind, pay a little bit more for urgent retrieval, uh, but you still need to wait maybe minutes. Okay, 3, 4, 5 minutes. All right, and then you can get your data. But this one definitely more expensive than the standard retrieval. And bulk retrieval, if you don't mind wait for 5 hours up to 12 hours, very low cost. I think it's free of charge for the retrieval. So if you take a look on the pricing, the retrieval, and then here, okay, they specify Glacier retrieval. Okay, and then if you see bulk, yeah, you see all the price NA not applicable. And then explicit much more expensive. You see, take a look. A few minutes. Okay, in order to get the data, you pay $10. All right, and this one is just 5 cents. Yeah. Okay. So take a look on the pricing. Okay. You can pay for retrieval time. That's the concept. Okay. So next, and then for S3, as now we have many tier. All right. How should we move the data from one tier to another tier? Okay, please don't do it manually. All right, because you may have millions or even billions of file in S3. Okay, you don't want to interact with the file manually. So we can use another features called lifecycle policy or lifecycle rules nowadays. And let's say this is just an example. I show you in the console a little bit later. Suppose originally when you upload the file to S3, let's say for the first month, we put it in standard tier. Okay, let's say it's social media. Okay, and then after that, uh, you know, for the first month, a lot of people, yeah, download, view your file, all right, your video, all right, and then after that, maybe, yeah, we still have some requests, but less often, all right. Let's say after 30 days, we move to infrequent access, and then after, let's say 60 day, 1 year, your choice, move to Glacier just for archive, all right. And then let's say after 1 year, 5 year, 7 year, once again, your choice, your settings, we delete the file. All right. So let me show you where to configure this. So go back to your S3 bucket, and then you can take a look on management. All right. In the management area, you can actually set this lifecycle rules. Okay. So it's pretty straightforward. You just give a name, and then prefix is just like the folder. All right. In S3, you can create the so-called folder, but they're not really a folder. They are just prefix. Okay. Let me talk a little bit on this. A lot of people mix up. Okay, so I want to clarify this one. Here you can create a folder, right? Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Just create a folder. And S3 is distributed storage. We are not file system. We don't have the concept folder. When you create a folder, let's say folder one, and then upload a file one to folder one, and now your file is called folder one slash file one. It's just like this. Okay, so by using those prefix, we can be much more focused on your data. All right, nowadays I want to maintenance, do something, change something for just those prefix. All right, rather than all the object. Okay, just like this. All right. Let me go back to the S3 console. Is it here? All right. So you can just yeah, move the data in those so-called folder. Is actually prefix, and then you can actually set the days. Okay, how many days move to IA, how many days move to Glacier, and then after that we can expire the content, delete it. All right. So it's your settings. Very straightforward. All right. So this is, go back to here. Okay, lifecycle policy. Okay, to move your data to different tier and delete automatically without human intervention. All right. And then next, how should we choose region? As we mentioned, we have 26 region. Okay, 4 out of the 26 you cannot choose because 2 is for government, 2 is for uh, yeah, uh, China, right? And then the other 22, how should we choose? If you are living, you are serving the customer in US East, then likely Virginia. All right. However, how about the middle of US? Okay, you want to serve the customer in Texas, all right, or yeah, the South America. Okay, how should we choose the region? Okay, so there are 4 consideration. Okay, 4 consideration. The first one, so many word, I will just say it, law. Okay, this is always the first consideration. Okay, data compliance, regulation, law, same meaning, right? So the law compliance. Let me go back to this global infrastructure. As you can see, Frankfurt, we know this is in German. Okay, in German, in certain industry, the country have regulation that the data must stay inside the country. All right. So if you store anywhere else, you break the law. All right. So they have no choice. They must select Frankfurt. And I can say this is why AWS built the Frankfurt region for those customers. All right. You must select that region. Okay. And then this is the first one, always the first consideration. And the second consideration is service available. All right. So let me say for an example, you can actually go to AWS region table. And then from here, let's say Virginia. Okay. Let me just search control tower. All right. So this is, yeah, one of the service. I don't explain what is control tower, but in other region, let's say uh, yeah, let me Jakarta, right? Okay, so do we have control tower? No. When I search control tower, all right, we don't have that in those region. Okay, so I'm saying not every single region uh, provide all the service. Of course, in US, in Virginia, in Ohio, likely we have most service, but some other relatively new region, they may not have that features. Okay, so if you don't have those service, you must select another region, or you cannot use that service. All right. The other consideration: do we have those service? And then next is price and latency proximity. I will say these two slides, cost and proximity. Sometimes you consider cost more uh, important, okay? Because every region the price is different. I can show you. Let's say go back to S3, okay? So if you select Virginia, of course, yeah, 0.023, and let's go to Singapore, all right? Uh, so if you go to Singapore, Singapore is more expensive. Think about the user in Singapore, all right, the customer in Singapore. If they just back up to AWS and focus lowest cost, then they may put to upload to US. Okay, suppose they never restore, just keep a copy in the cloud. All right, and then want to minimize the cost, they will select US. Another scenario is suppose you create a game server. All right, your Singapore customer, if they need to connect to US, the latency is much higher. All right, so sometimes cost more important. Sometimes, yeah, the latency more important. But we can go to a website cloud ping info in order to check the latence. Okay, just the latence from your computer to different availability zone to different region. Okay, so let's say here maybe Frankfurt is more close, but you can do a few times tracking because the internet, the traffic may change. All right, so here is just how you check the latence. Okay, so these are 4 consideration. How should you select the region? Okay, so once again, law first, and then service available, and then latence or cost. Yeah, you take a look. Yeah, different project they may have different priority. All right. So next, yeah, go back to demo a static website in S3. This demo is really related to S3. Okay, or if you have AWS account, you can try yeah, in your account. So go to S3. You know, in S3 we have really a lot of features, and these features is in this tab. Okay, go to yeah properties. Okay, and then go to the bottom, and here you can make S3 as a static website. Okay, so that you know, if you just have HTML file, the video, the picture, okay, the JavaScript, the CSS, this is kind of static website. Then, of course, you can use EC2 to host it, but by using virtual machine, you are paying every single second. Okay, and you know the cost for EC2 definitely more expensive than S3. But if you just upload those content to S3 and enable these features, okay, when there is nighttime, no people make requests to your website, you don't need to pay any extra. Okay, so could be much cheaper. All right, and you know you don't need to care about the scaling, the networking as well. All right, so how can we do it? Very easy. Just enable it and then look for 2 HTML file. All right, not PHP, not Python, not Java, just HTML. The index HTML and you know the era HTML. And you know I have a bucket already turned on these features, and I also yeah have the domain name bamboo.demo.com, and then you can try to visit. All right, so s3web bamboo.demo.com. As you can see here, actually we have video, we have picture. So let me just show you. Okay, you can just take a look. If you go to this website, all right, you have the picture, you have actually the video as well. Oh, so this is static. Okay, a static website. We can actually use S3 to do it. Very straightforward. Just upload those index, upload those picture, video, and then yeah, write a very simple HTML file. That's it. Okay, and yeah, very efficient, very cheap. This is the features of S3 static website. Okay, so the last part of the section, but this part we have the best practice. You can think about this as tips. You know, we have 10 point related to a good architecture. All right, or best practice. Okay, for a well architecture, we always talk about the pillar. You know, before we talk about security, cost, performance, reliability, and operation as well. Okay, and now we have the sustainability. And now here we are talking about 10 best practice. Okay, let me just enable all this, and then I tell you one by one. And after this, yeah, my colleagues will talk about the promotion related to our course. All right. So first of all, a best practice, okay, in your AWS system is that we should be able to handle the extra loading, okay, the scalability. Suppose you have multiple tier, you have load balancer. Think about the traffic may go in. Suddenly, we may have more customer. Think about Thanksgiving, Christmas. We may have more traffic. Can our load balancer, can our web server, can our database handle those traffic? All right, no single point of bottleneck. All right, so think about all this. And then the second important point is that try to automate automate your environment. All right, less human intervention. Okay, one very good example is use infrastructure as code to provision to create everything. All right, of course, we can go to the console and click, create the virtual network, create a database, create the EC2 machine. Think about how can you change it. Okay, suppose you got more and more environment. All right, it is not really scalable. All right, yeah, you change, you delete, and if you can create everything from code, it is really fast to create a whole environment. All right, and then change and then remove everything. All right, so automate is not only important, it's the key of using AWS. All right, and then number three, think about disposable resources. Okay, let's say, oh, daytime, I need 4 server, could be web, could be application, just 4 server to serve our client. Nighttime, maybe we just need 2. Okay, suppose your business is from 5 a.m. from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 5:01, you can already delete some server to save the cost. All right, and think everything disposable. But your data is important. Keep your data. All right, loosely couple, break them down. Okay, 15, 20 years before, Amazon also have a big giant web application and all the application running inside the machine. All right, and then now what should we do? Break down into different part. Okay, break down your compute and storage resources. Okay, so that's why nowadays we talk about microservice, and then each individual microservice can use different development life cycle, different language. Okay, easier to scale, easier to troubleshoot. All right, easier to test. All right, and you can focus on service rather than server. All right, and nowadays, not only nowadays, maybe 2 3 years before, we already have a lot of customer focus everything serverless. All right, yeah, in their application system backend, they may not really have anything using EC2 and then RDS as well. All right, in our developing on AWS 3-day training, we focus on how to build such cloud native application. Okay, as a developer, all right, write the program. As long as your user happy with your application, they will not care about what server you're using. All right, and choose the right database. I should say choose the right storage. All right, if those are just object, then put it in S3. If you need a share folder, yeah, EFS is your choice. And then for relational database, AWS have the RDS. For NoSQL, you may consider DynamoDB, Elasticache, Graph database, the Neptune as well. All right. So choose the right database solution. All right. Don't put everything in a single database. All right. This one I don't think we need to elaborate. Avoid single point of failure. Anything can fail. Okay. A single machine, a hardware data center availability zone, or even a region can go down. All right, no people can predict the big natural disaster. All right, and then optimize for cost. Yeah, try to lower your cost. Actually, by using more managed service, more serverless service. All right, and then use caching. Actually, we have a couple service related to caching. First of all, content delivery network. Cache your data in the edge location. And then your database, you can have database caching as well. All right, like Elasticache, store those data so that next query, we don't need to calculate, join everything again. All right, so database caching or content delivery network caching. And the last one is really the most important, secure every layer. All right, yeah, a lot of things to talk about: threat management, access control, and then also encryption. How can we deal with the web attack, DDoS, and many best practice. Okay, so in security 3-day training, we got talk into much more details in this area. All right, so I think it is about time for my colleagues to talk about the course promotion. So Lila, can I pass
Yes.
back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely can. So we are going to have a question and answer session in just a little bit. So while we take a quick moment to pass the time over to Tripti, our marketing associate, who's going to introduce our promotions and event-related courses, we'd love to invite you to go ahead and put your questions into the questions panel so that we can address those just after Tripti speaks to us. I'm going to make you the presenter real quick, Tripti. Are you with us?
Yes, Leela. Thank you. Thanks so much, Leela. And thank you everyone for joining today's session. Thank you, Brian, our instructor, for delivering such a wonderful session. So let me just take you all over our recommended courses, promotions. So what's next after this session will be beneficial for you all. So this is basically the slide I'm using. You can find this on your handout section of the GoToWebinar. There you can find all the slides what I'm showing to you. Also the link to the same is available there as well. Also, I would like to tell everyone that this session is being recorded, and after 24 hours, the recording will be available on our website. Also, you can go through our handouts. You will be able to find the link over here, and it will be working after 24 hours. So these are some recommended courses. So as this session is basically an overview, and if you would like to learn more about the architect, so I would suggest the AWS Technical Essential is the fundamental course you can start with, and these are some more courses which are recommended here. You can just go through this, and the schedule for the month of July is also available, and more schedules are available on our website. So next we have the AWS Discovery Day. So basically AWS Discovery Day is a 2-hour session. From the month of July, we will be starting our first session. And these are some topics which we have: machine learning, migration, security, data strategy, and cloud practitioner. So these are the 5 Discovery Day that we have till December, starting from July. Basically, these sessions will going to give you an overview about all these areas. So if you would like to learn about machine learning or any other areas which is here, so do register for our upcoming Discovery Days. Also, I would like to mention one more thing over here. If you are going to register for machine learning, data strategy, or cloud practitioner, any of these 3 sessions, so you will be eligible for our latest promotion, discount promotion we are having, and where you will going to have 50% discount on our 3 course, which are AWS Security, AWS Technical Essentials, and Cloud Practitioner Essential. Only if you register for these 3 sessions. So you will be eligible for that discount promotion as well. So I would highly recommend everyone to register for these sessions in order to take a benefit of the discount promotion that we are having. Next, we have the AWS e-learning courses. So we have around 250 plus AWS e-learning courses. So these courses, basically, you will going to get a fundamental knowledge of AWS cloud by the solution areas. So if you are just starting with the AWS and would like to learn what all solution areas are there, what all you would like to learn the fundamental knowledge, so you can enroll for our AWS e-learning, which are basically free. So these are just short videos which will going to give you an introduction about each areas. Next, we have the customized private group training for you. So this is basically if you have a team or a group of people who are interested in private group training or group training for their team, and this is the customized private group training which we provide. This is basically a 2-hour session, a free 2-hour session, which is only for the group of 10 people. This training can be customized according to your need. If you require to look for the particular AWS product or solution areas, so we can customize this training according to your need. So if you want to run this a private group session where you want to have a demo what kind of training we provide, how our instructors are providing training. So we can arrange a 2-hour session for you and your team. So do let us know. Next, we have the AWS LNA, which is AWS Learning Need Analysis. So a lack of skill talent is one of the most common obstacles to the adaptation of the cloud service. So to identify and address these skill gaps, we have a solution, and which is a complementary LNA with a free assessment survey that identifies AWS skill gaps and recommends organization and individual training plan to address those gaps. So there is simple, we have this has 3 simple steps. So if your team has a skill gap, so we will be going to run an LME. So we will going to run a free assessment there, which will take around 5 minutes. So once the assessment is done by each and every member of your team, so we will going to share a heat report, which will going to tell what all skill gaps are there, and according to that report, we will going to prepare a training plan for you and your team. So do let us know if you would like to schedule this LNA assessment with your team. So just email us as aws@netcomlearning.com. Next program which we have is the which is the NetCom Plus. It's a subscription plan. So if you are looking for an unlimited benefit with a learning experience, then NetCom Plus subscription is the one you can look into. So this is for the 12 months, and AWS, Microsoft, Cisco, CompTIA, and many other vendor courses are there available, and you will going to get an access to 350 plus training classes, and our subscription starts at 2,999 per person for the year, and additional discount is also available for the enterprise. Next, we have the learning passport. So if you have a budget allocate training for your team, then learning passport is the right option, I would suggest you. So here you will be experiencing unlimited training experience, which will going to include Microsoft, AWS, and other vendors. And this is for the flexible fund, valid for the 12 months. Also, we have 4,000 plus official courses available under this program. So do let us know if you would like to appoint a learning consultant who can give you more detail, what plans, what training you should be going through. And that's all from my end. And if you also would like to have a call with our learning consultant, who are available 24/7 to answer your questions, so just email us at aws@netcomlearning.com. So yeah, that's all from my end. And Lida, thank you so much for giving me the time. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. Yeah, we will go ahead and we will jump right into our question answer session. It looks like we are getting close on time, so we will just get to whatever we can. And they wanted to know if there would be an offline link to this video again. And yes, there is. There will be. It's sent the next 24 hours via email, if I remember correctly, right, Tripti?
Yes, Leela.
Okay.
We will also going to share an email where you will be going to have a recording link for them.
Okay. They're asking, are some of the upcoming live courses, like the July 11th course, already available online from previous sessions? There are some courses that have been previously aired. So you'll just have to go to the website and kind of look through what has already been done. Some of them are up, some of them are not. So you should be able to navigate through there pretty easily. And I think Tripti showed you guys where you can look at the other courses and everything. Our next question, how can we back up the data in S3?
in AWS, a lot of service, when you back up, like you back up the EC2, actually is the EBS, the RDS, and then DynamoDB, a lot more other database. When you back up, they actually go to S3. And the question here is about how can we back up S3 itself? 2 years before AWS will mention versioning, just like what I demoed to you, enable versioning, and then you can get back the earlier version. But think about it, if you have thousands, millions of files, it's really not manageable. And now AWS, we have a relatively new service called AWS Backup. Uh, AWS Backup is a centralized tool to back up other service. And now we add S3 as well. So that if you use AWS Backup to back up S3, you can just like restore S3 back to a certain point of time. Okay, so the answer to this question is by using AWS Backup this service. All right, I hope I can answer your question.
Thank you. Okay, let me just check on our time. Yeah, we've got enough time for a couple more. Will AWS do all the security job for us when we are using their cloud services?
All right, so one very important concept related to security is share responsibility model. It means AWS will not do all the security job, but it's share responsibility. It means customer uh, still need to do a lot of things, but AWS handle all the, let's say, infrastructure, hardware, data center virtualization, like this, and then customer still, if you're using EC2, yeah, the EC2, the Windows Linux configuration, your firewall, your networking, your access control, your data backend protection, you still have a lot of job to do. But one key takeaway is that by using AWS, you offload a lot of responsibility to AWS. So your security job should be easier. And if you use more managed service like RDS, you don't need to configure the Windows Linux update. And then if you use those managed service, especially those serverless service, many of them, they are not in VPC. Okay, so you don't need to configure the virtual network. It means you use more managed service, serverless service. You even offload more responsibility to AWS. But definitely, you still have some security job responsibility to do. All right, I hope it can answer your question.
Thank you. And it looks like we've got one more question in our queue before we do wrap up today. AWS has had some outages last year. Should we still consider using their cloud services?
Okay, so no people can control predict the natural disaster. Maybe because of earthquake, typhoon, tsunami, or just some failure. All right. So we still, of course, can use, but the most important is we plan for it. All right. Normally, multi AC should be good enough, but if really a region outage, then and if your application is very important, okay, then you may consider multi-region availability. We can definitely do that, but the cost will be higher. So it depends on the importance of your application. Okay, so that's my answer.
Wonderful, thank you. And with that being said, we are through all of our questions through our presentation, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. In addition to today's webinar, we have a lot of informative webinars and events that are coming up, so please go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinars/ to register for any of those. We want to thank you all for joining us today. If you do come up with any additional questions, please feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. And we hope that you all found today's webinar to be informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us very soon. Also, feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our events, webinars, and other courses. Once again, thank you everyone, and have a wonderful day.